We are black.
Black?
Yeah.
Did you mean back?
No, I meant black. I mean, we're black, technically black.
Oh, you mean black? Bro, come on. Should have said that. What? Yes, we are black and back.
Exactly.
This is the 2-on-2 podcast with Steve and Bongani.
Yes, we are. I mean, people identify differently. So I just wanted to make sure that people remember we are identified as black.
I appreciate that. It's a white man show, though. By black
I miss you, man.
Hey, I miss you too, fo.
How's it been?
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I can say. It's been 2 weeks.
No, looking forward to this episode. A lot has been happening.
Tell me about it. What are we starting?
The world of basketball,
yes, sir.
Maneuvering.
I mean, it's around the globe.
Exactly. I mean, we're excited once again to be back.
Yeah.
Headlines.
Black.
Oh, yeah, black. Headlines. Yes, Bravehearts International Basketball Challenge. Some great news coming out of that.
IBC.
Exactly.
Yeah, we sent out our troops. We had 4 teams in participation from Zambia.
Yep.
Yeah, Magic, of course, the Kings. The Kings. Hey, yep. I won't go into that again.
Yep.
I think when
you know, I guess
you know.
Whoever will see this knows what you're about to say. But let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah, the Munali Sons. Of course. Then we had the ladies as well, Queens, who went there, and I think they went as far as the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, minting silver.
Great representation. How many countries were represented out there?
4.
4 countries.
Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, and I think 5. Even TZ was there.
Oh, wow.
And Zimbabwe.
Yeah. And we emerged, the Zambian team obviously emerged victorious.
You can say obviously once again. Yeah. Obviously, we ripped the city. Matero is the city.
Materizo,
yeah,
as they say.
So, yeah, they played a number of games before the finals, and, impressively, they went all the way without a loss.
Wow.
So they kind of swept the BIBC.
And they didn't have the full squad there.
No. They didn't have the full squad. I mean, I was here. I'm kidding. Yeah, but
yeah, right.
They didn't have the full squad, with the towering forward, Douglas Kandulu staying back, preparing for BL.
That's right.
Elijah Mbochu as well. I think he had exams. Spoiken Ngoma, the hot shot.
Exactly.
Also, I think is still in Tanzania right now.
That's right.
Yeah, so they were not a full squad. Yeah.
But I think it was a great tournament. I think the international experience is invaluable for our teams.
That is true.
Magic, well done once again. Keep doing your thing. I think you were in the finals against the Bravehearts themselves, the owners of the tournament.
The owners of the tournament. So,
and up to them.
We did
at home.
Humbly did that because, Bravehearts is such a great organization. I like where they're going. I like, I've spoken a couple of times with the coach, Coach Griffin. And, before we even say anything, I think it's important that we offer our condolences to the people of Malawi.
That's right.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was a great man.
Indeed.
A basketball player too. So we appreciate that. We appreciate his vision for the country. And going back to the game, it was surprising how, first of all, Magic went all the way, to the finals because on paper they were weak,
Precisely.
Not the Magic that we know, they were weak because the names that we just mentioned were not there, So I don't know what you make of that. Is it the culture? Is it magic, really? Maybe it's magic, like juju or something.
You guys might have something in terms of as an organization, but it's really encouraging, I feel, when you go and represent an international tournament and you don't have the full squad, but you still manage to mint the gold there. And I think, as we get into the conversation about the preparations to
BL,
I think that's going to be crucial. Right. To have that international experience and still be able to pull off a win with, a team that's not a full squad. So kudos to you.
Kudos to them.
But anyway, we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
Around the leagues.
Around the leagues, what do we
A
have?
lot has been happening in our country in the
Yeah.
world of basketball. Again, I want us to start off maybe on the Copper Belt.
Copa Bell basketball, CBA.
Yep.
Ish. Yeah, there's a lot of
There
hot
was some
coffee
news.
brewing desire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But first off, I think I'll speak to the weekend's game.
That's right.
The highlight of the game. Confinsa versus Magnets.
That's right.
If you're looking at the two top teams on the Copa Belt, you're talking about number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
From last season, and they came to face off in the first encounter this season. And of course, you'd expect tight affair,
Exactly.
and there was tight affair.
It was, eh?
It was, and I have had the privilege to play on the Copper Belt with CBU once again, and the two coaches, Washa and Felix.
That's right.
Those are two young rising coaches from the Copper Belt, and when they went head to head, I wasn't there, but I could feel the intensity of the game.
That's right.
You know?
That's the energy.
The energy
it.
that was there. The game ended by 3 points,
Wow.
and of course, it wasn't short of controversy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The big news.
The big
big news. the best one for me
Uh-huh.
in that big news before we even get into it was allegedly one of the coaches who was officiating the game.
The referees.
The referees
Yeah.
actually placed a bet. It
A
is
bet?
alleged that he placed a bet
On the
the game.
He was refereeing.
He was refereeing a game and he placed a bet.
Right. Okay. My face just dropped because that is sad news.
Wait, I mean, before we even get to, I find it really funny.
Nah,
I'm sorry.
I understand. I understand. Okay.
How? Like,
So you're placing a bet as an official
on a game,
On a
you're
game.
officiating.
on a game you're officiating.
Exactly.
Right. So like one of the teams has to win and one has to lose.
Exactly.
And you place the bet.
And you're going to get money off your bet.
No, I find that very disturbing, actually. Basketball, for me personally, I would not mind being hacked,
That's right.
being pooed, being clotheslined, being poked in the eye by a fellow player. But what I would not take is a referee throwing a blind eye to that, because his job is to be neutral
Exactly.
in the first place and to ensure that the game is flowing. Okay?
And I mean, for me, that's the controversy. Number one, firstly, betting in the game of basketball. And apparently out there on the Copper Belt now, stories are that it's become a big thing. There was a whole controversy going
it's a
on
business.
last week. So betting is a business. We don't have any issue against betting per se, but when key people involved in the game are placing bets. I mean, we've got one guy who's going to prison. I know, like in the NBA, I think a former Toronto Raptor, brother to Michael Porter, I believe, is actually going to be doing time because of betting.
No, it's just
So
against
out
sports.
there, it's taken really serious. How can you be an athlete? You're betting. Now we've got people betting, and these people are in influential key positions. Allegedly, we don't have the evidence yet.
No,
this is
but
what
I
is
mean,
happening.
when I hear such things, even if they're rumors, I have to shoot them down. I mean, if we don't speak about them, they'll become big. And we cannot allow this to dent our very loved sport of basketball.
Exactly.
So really, if this is happening in the Copper Belt, I don't know who's in charge, but you need to up your game.
And I think it's something that, we might need to speak to some people over time. But hey, you guys have been called out. You're allowing this to happen on your floor. And
We can't
it's
allow this.
really embarrassing, if you ask me. And it's unfortunate for the games because there's no trust now. A team wins on merit. The fans won't trust that this was on merit.
Exactly.
There's a lot of speculation. It's already controversial to be, refereeing in our country, if you ask me. Even in, our MBA here, it's still a controversy. We know that those conversations still go on. However, you got to place the game at a certain point where ethically everyone is looking at it and they believe
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
fair. So if that is happening, you've brought this into the game of basketball. I think there must be rules around it.
No,
There must be rules that govern it. Who is allowed to gamble? And I don't think officials or people in key
No,
positions.
what we need to understand is there's a thin line between betting and match fixing. No, these two are totally different.
That's right.
Okay, if you and me are gonna place a bet on Magic winning, we are not actively into the game. Maybe it could be okay, but if I am playing and I am betting against my team, then maybe the missed shots were not supposed to be missed shots. If you're a referee and you're betting against one team to win, maybe the no calls should be calls.
Absolutely.
I think this referee thing is really is something that we need to be discussing more. Is it because there's no incentive? There's no
I think so.
incentive.
That's definitely an issue. Any business, any sport where there's little money or no money, it becomes a big problem.
But
and we know that's an issue here as well. So I could be passionate about the game,
Yeah.
but if I'm not being motivated by what I'm earning, it becomes a big problem.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with this, topic. I've always raved at this because I think officially referees are the only people in basketball who get paid. Officially.
Interesting.
Only people in basketball. Forget the players, forget the names that you hear. Officially, referees are the only ones who get paid. So if you're getting paid, how then are you not delivering according to the expectations of the people? Because remember, to whom much is given, much is expected. So I think it's really hurting the game. And I'll speak to the match commissioners. They need to organize their house. They need to organize their house.
I agree. I mean, I think our game, incentive wise, is not where it should be.
Yeah.
People are not making as much money from the game of basketball in our country.
Right.
So if we are having these problems now, when there's not so much money, imagine what would happen when the game grows.
Yeah.
And we have real money. It becomes a problem. So rightly so, we need to deal with this now. CBA, you guys need to deal with this. You guys need to investigate, take it seriously, and investigate what happened, because I think you start having problems when there's pointing of fingers.
That's right.
A team wins a game, but people don't believe it's legitimate because there's some concern.
Yeah, and that reminds me, still on the topic of referees. Last weekend actually, we had about 30 minutes pause, waiting for the officials to decide who's going to referee the game.
Wow.
This was after KSM Giants and Bulldogs game.
That's right.
So imagine now people have programs. They're going to watch the game starting at 18, and the game takes ages to start, simply because I don't know who's the appointing authority,
Exactly.
but they appointed a wrong referee, wrong in that he had ties to the team that was going to play.
Oh no.
So now let's talk about preparations. We have teams preparing from Monday to Friday.
That's right.
For a weekend game. How much time do referees have to prepare? To schedule.
Exactly.
To shuffle their people around.
Exactly.
I think these are things that we need to be talking about. I mean, if we're going to take basketball seriously, we need to start with these very, very things.
I totally agree. I mean, like you said, it's a whole week. That shouldn't happen. Number one, it's just a dampener of a mood for a fan. If I'm sitting there, I'm a fan, and I have to wait so many minutes.
No.
Life is busy. People have responsibilities. I'm rushing. I'm thinking, I've got kids at home. I gotta get back home after this game, and then I have to wait another 30 minutes. And people are leaving the place, the arena pretty late. I think that's something that people need to step up. The people responsible for refereeing, for scheduling referees, ensure all those things are checked and done, and you have the right people calling these games. It's a small industry. I mean, basketball is a small sport.
Very small.
In our country. So we understand there can be challenges.
Yeah.
However, we've got people experienced in these places. So if we place you and you've got this responsibility, do it right, folks.
That's it. You couldn't say it any better.
Anyway,
Good,
we
right?
move on from that.
I was getting pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, you're getting emotional. I can feel you. Coming back to the Midlands Basketball Association
Yeah.
here in Lusaka, in the men's B League,
Right.
I think I'm gonna talk. There's two games that probably want to look at. Chilanga Rollers, who beat the Napsa Hurricanes.
Napsa Hurricanes.
Napsa Hurricanes. What happened? I mean, I know, and it's not disrespect to
You
the
have the
Rollers.
scoreline there, yeah?
Yeah, it was 68-65.
68, 65. One thing I can say is I'm just impressed with the team from Chilanga. You know, it's not been easy for them. They've when they came into the league, of course, they're underdogs. They don't have the best facilities to train from. They don't have the best players to look up to.
Exactly.
They're an outskirt. You know, and to beat Napsa Hurricanes, a team that has been there ages and ages, speaks volumes. And I'd like to commend.
I agree because I mean I've had interaction with that team, even played them in a social setup, just as a practice
Yeah.
team, and it was good fun when we played them. But you can tell, there's a desire with the boys on the team and the sacrifice that the guys that are behind it is especially financial sacrifice that you see the guys
Yeah,
put in
yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure the guys show up for games, to make sure the guys play. I mean, it's what you want to see in the game, right? And you just hope that these efforts will be complemented because if you're seeing results like this, what happens if these guys have got good backing, of people supporting them, sponsoring them, and making sure that they have everything logistics wise to get to games? So this was indeed an upset. But the one that was really interesting for me was the Magic.
B
Magic B. This was last weekend's
last
game
week, yeah,
versus the
Landa
Landa
Heat.
Heat.
Right. Look,
An upset of note. And this was
Yeah.
not even an upset that, okay, you know what, they just came into the game and they dominated. But they lost 58-59 to the Heat.
single point.
Single point.
So I don't know. No, it's like when two metallic objects meet, there's always a spark,
Okay.
right? Yeah, and you don't know which one is stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this moment, when Lilanda hit and Material Magic B, those are the metals.
Mm,
We pride ourselves on the attitude we have, coming from Material.
that's right.
Strong and, you have character.
Test it.
Yes. But these boys from Lilanda, they carry the same mantle.
They're right door neighbors.
Yes, exactly. And most of the players have actually been magicians before.
Mm,
Yeah, so they know
understand
the
the culture.
ins and outs.
absolutely.
Yeah, and going toe to toe with Magic B,
Mhm.
it really does not tell you the whole picture.
Yeah.
Because you will find in that Lilanda Heat team more experienced players than those in Magic B.
Wow.
Not to defend Magic B.
Exactly.
Because, they started out with a 20-point lead,
Guys.
and to lose a game by a single point, it means, there's something with that Lilanda Heat team.
Yeah.
Something to watch out for.
If I am coach, I'm calling I don't know how many timeouts. As many as I'm allowed to call out. Timeout.
Timeout.
Let's go again. Timeout.
Yeah.
Let's go again. But I mean, I'm not coach and
Yeah. And
so anyway, it was an interesting scoreline, but I think sometimes also good to awaken a giant.
right.
When you have such moments and you realize, wow, it can actually be taken away
No,
because
that's
it's never for granted.
That's true.
Success is
And
never for granted.
This is what B teams need to understand. They ride on the name they
That's
carry. So Material Magic B, for example, ride on Material Magic A.
Is it like Bronny James riding on?
I hope that's not the case for Bronny. because it will be very hard to ride
on my boy.
Yeah. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
So I think it's high time that they started treating themselves as individual teams,
Absolutely.
making a name for themselves. Otherwise,
it's heart, man. It's heart. I mean, we were talking about Shilanga. It comes from heart. If you've got the heart, regardless. I think for me, passion beats talent many times if you're focused. Okay, I mean, we can dwell on that a little bit, but it was good. Women's League, we had the Breeze and the Dolphins, a tight affair.
Yeah.
Dolphins were beaten by 2-3 points, 41-39.
Yeah, I like the combination, the Breeze and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
The Breeze and the Dolphins. I like that. Yeah, and well, the breeze past the Dolphins.
Wow.
If we could headline it like that.
The breeze.
Yeah. Dolphins have emerged giants.
That's right.
In the women's league, and rightly so. I mean, they acquire the right talent.
Exactly.
They go out and they show their intent. Every time they go into the window. But to lose to Breeze is not much of a surprise for me because remember Breeze, they're champions in their own right.
That's
they've played a number of finals. They've won the league a number of times.
They're formidable opponents.
They are formidable.
Not like you're dealing with a Kawaya kind of team.
No, they're not Kawayawais. They've been there. Yes, they had a bit of restructuring to do, but for any NAPSA team, if you have one number 7, a Zico 7, then you know that your team is in safe hands.
Absolutely.
And yeah, Tendai, she's been the face of Zambia basketball for quite some time.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, starting out when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see her, carry the team, and
Absolutely.
It's really lovely to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her play through injury sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's just a determined lady.
Yeah, so yeah, Dolphins, hopefully they don't push Tendai because then to be the end of NAPSA Breeze.
Sheesh.
But yeah, but hey, it was a
and that's the funny thing about NAPSA. That,
Yeah.
Even on the men's side, I think they suffer to that. They have all these talents that they bring up.
Yeah.
And then next thing, I think it speaks to the development, right?
Right.
Is there like a ceiling? Is there opportunities beyond a certain point for players? Because if your best talents are looking to go play elsewhere. I think as an organization, it's important to introspect and think, what can we do for our talent?
That's very valid.
We've seen that a lot, and it's so unfortunate an organization like that a lot of our basketball players today can say, they started their youth basketball from NAPSA. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of them. So if all these great talents have eventually moved on to greener pastures, then what is the organization not doing? And that's something that they really need to think about. Is it an incentive issue? Is it the opportunity and the exposure that they give the players?
And the saddening part is how long this has been going on.
Yeah.
NAPSA Hurricanes has always had the best talent
Exactly.
in the country. They've always produced the best fundamentals. They've always had this structure where you have your youth teams, you have your B team, and then you have the senior team. And to top it off, for a long time, they've always produced national team coaches. So then you wonder, you really question what the organization is lacking.
Yeah.
Because will it take maybe an import, from Congo, an import maybe from another team, say Material Magic, or these are the teams to take them, all the way to the championship?
Indeed.
Maybe
that's a question.
Yeah,
that's a question.
Because
and maybe you can help us answer if you're watching this. In your comments, let's see what we talk about. We keep it going. The senior men's, there was one game, nail biter again. This is good. When competition is this tight in the league, then we're heading somewhere.
Yeah.
So KSM Giants versus the Bulldogs.
Well, I thought you were gonna mention one of the big names that we know.
No, no. Like, I mean, we know,
Yeah.
right? We don't have to mention the big names, but there's like emerging teams.
Right.
And for me, no better teams than this, especially the Bulldogs, who I think have been on a bit of a tear.
No, they have. They have.
Lately.
It seems this is a bulldog that went to the gym. And speaking of bulldog going to the gym,
Yeah.
there's one guy. They call him Kabompo.
Kabomb.
I don't know where the name comes from, but it sounds powerful to me. Yeah, Chama. So this guy is a seasoned veteran.
That's right.
Playing through, I think, 5 teams here in the Midlands, and then going to the Copper Belt, dominating. Coming back with a young team, Bulldogs, and now they've beaten Material Magic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You beat us. Yeah, they beat us.
Yeah.
And Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Last week. And the KSM Giants.
And I'm a critic of the Bulldogs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I said that in the last episode. Because when you watch their games, like I saw the potential,
Yeah.
and I saw what I thought was their weakness in having a young team. So rightly so, you bring in a vet like Kabompo,
Yeah.
and a seasoned guy who I think can bring some order. A vet in the locker room. I think someone who's not afraid to call out even some of the perceived best talents, because I mean, some guys are good, but they just need a bit of a whip, a whip on buttocks. Like, young man, get it together. So I mean, I think that was good, and we are seeing it in their results.
Yeah.
I think they are resolved to just hold on to these leads that sometimes they crack open early in the game, but then we've had issues where they. So this was a nail biter. But what happened? I mean,
It was
KSM. How did KSM get a chance to
KSM.
push this game?
No, so you're right in saying the two rising teams.
Yeah.
So look at this. These are young, on the books, but with vast talent. And one thing that people are not seeing is the balance that these teams have. From each position, there's someone formidable.
Yeah.
When you talk of height, they're competitive. When you talk of basketball IQ from the technical bench, they're right there on top.
Yeah.
And I was sitting with some of the Bulldogs execs, and they were busy pointing out things here and there. And I could see this is now a team realizing its potential. They are onto something, and it's really nice to see. We were talking about NAPSA earlier.
Yeah.
Having a structure, from the youth league through to eight. This is one team that has that, Bulldogs. And they started a long time ago. But the only issue they've had is they failed to hold on to players. The players are all over the league right now. They failed to hold on to them. So for me, looking at this game, I could see the future of Zambia basketball, because in those teams, yes, you have a mix of veterans, but you also have a mix of young bloods who are coming up.
That's right.
Yeah, and man, it was a lovely affair to watch.
All right, man. I mean, I know the Magic are still on top.
Yeah, no,
I think
mean,
last
that's where
I
they
checked-
belong.
Yeah. Magic, Suns. I need to look at those standings again. However, I want to move on. Talking about Magic,
Okay.
Road to Bow
Road to bow.
is coming up. And, I had a bit of a conversation with some of the people in your organization.
Right.
But, I think, obviously we're running out of time. So we want to cruise through this.
Okay.
However, on the preparation side, I don't know what, you can just give a bit of insight what the organization is doing,
Well, no, it's been a quiet build up.
Yeah.
Because of the challenges that are there every single season.
Yeah.
When we talk of importing someone or bringing someone from abroad, from the US, it's money.
Absolutely.
So on that front, we've been we've been doing our due diligence, if you may. Of course, if you've been following the league, you've seen that there's already two or so Americans,
Yeah.
in AJ.
That's right.
And you're able to see the talent that we're looking for. You know, preparing for Bao. I think Malawi was our step number one.
Absolutely.
Just going out there and letting the team gel.
Yes.
Letting the team gel because we still had locals who are still trying to fuse into the team.
Yeah.
So like Lizwe, from a capture from Bulldogs.
Exactly.
We have David Dapper,
Yeah.
from the Copper Belt. So it's something that the organization is working towards. We're trying to get as much chemistry going
That's
as
right.
possible. Then of course, very soon we'll be announcing who else is coming through.
Exactly. I think one of the things I really wanted us to talk about, I mean, I know we are yet to know when the actual games will be played.
Right.
There's two things I know actually. I think from the organization, I heard you guys have been pushing to try and get to host this tournament. And I think you're really trying to get buy-in from the association.
Right.
So I think this is an appeal to the association. I think this would be great for Zambian basketball if we can host the initial qualifiers, first stage qualifiers here. So if we need to band together as a basketball community,
Let's
band
do it.
together, Magic organization, the association,
Let's do it.
and see what we can do. It'll be easier for on logistic side,
Right.
because this is expensive already. Team is getting in players from outside the country. So that's number one. We need to band together and figure out how we can host this.
And not just that. I mean, we yearn for that home support, the home advantage.
Precisely.
When we go out there, you have to know it's hostile.
Yeah.
People are gonna support the people they see, the people they know. So when we bring it home, it's not just advantageous for Magic,
Yes.
but for Zambia basketball, because then you have more of your people watching international basketball in home soil.
Exactly.
So it's exposure even for the spectator, even for the teams that did not make it.
That's right.
So you're further enhancing your abilities to play.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need.
And secondly is sponsorship.
Right.
That's a big one. We need cooperating partners to come on board, work with the Magic, work with the association once they come on board, and get sponsorship. We got to get those international talents. We've got even some of our own Zambian talents that are out there that
We need to bring
come in and play. So let's come together. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us. So cooperating partners, a lot is happening in the game of basketball, and this is why we started this podcast, to bring all that information out there so you guys get to know what's going on, and hopefully once you know what's going on, you have a lot more confidence to kind of invest in this
and
sport.
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You come in to sponsor, you get your brand out.
That's right.
And like we've been mentioning, the BAL is a league sponsored by FIBA, a league sponsored by the NBA, National Basketball Association. That's an international brand.
Exactly.
So once you team up with Material Magic and the ZBA, it means you're putting your name out there.
Absolutely.
If you want to go places, you can go through us, as ambassadors.
Exactly.
And that's what basketball is about.
Definitely. Last part, of the conversation, just to wind it up, just highlights. I don't know if you're following the Olympic game preparations.
Olympics.
Obviously, the Giants, the USA,
of course,
who are seated at number one, have started their preparation run. And they're in Abu Dhabi, I believe, where they're preparing for that. So they had a nail biter also against Australia. They had a comfortable lead, but until the fourth quarter when Australia came with a lot of pressure. Okay, so I feel like they definitely are front runners to me.
Okay.
However, it's not guaranteed because there's a lot of hunger out there.
No, it's not guaranteed because basketball is an equal sport. It gives equal opportunities. You can dominate a game, but every time you score, the other team gets the ball.
Absolutely.
They retain possession. So it's all about outscoring the opponent and making your stops.
Precisely.
And quite frankly, that's where I'm a bit hesitant on who to bet on.
Precisely.
because yes, you have the
Beton? Did
big
you say
names.
Beton?
Yeah, we're going Coppola now since betting is legal. So we are going to bet on the Olympics.
Oh, man. Okay, you know what? You gotta hold that thought. I think we've kind of run out of our time. But definitely the Olympics something to look forward to. I mean, the preparation games are still on,
Right.
so we'll get to see the actual action when it starts. And obviously, you can catch
Yes, sir.
all the noise, all the news right here on this show. Unfortunately, we've come to the end, but
Okay.
it was great once again, meant to catch up with you. And we want to acknowledge our sponsor for today, who organized our set.
Not LeBron, but we're talking about.
We had to have LeBron. I mean, the GOAT. But anyway, our set was sponsored by Zala's Creativity. So shout out to Zala's.
Come on now.
Thank you.
We see ya.
Yeah, check them out
see
on
ya.
social media, what they're doing in that space in terms of creating. But once again, I'm your host, Steve.
And this is Bongani.
It has been 2 on 2 podcast.
You know what it is?